So the differences between you both.
How long is string? Nah.
What are you trying to say? Like,
how far is the east from the west? I think we're very different.
You think you're very different?
Yeah, we are. We're very different, but we're
kind of looking at you to say,
we're very similar at the same time. It's
blow me up.
Yeah. Can you stop burning this side of my face with your eyes? Nah.
wait. We need to cut. You need to lick your lips there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. That's fine. That's why I'm trying to find the right time to say it.
Just say it.
Yeah.
What you do if you want to?
I don't want to cut you in a good bit. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
So the difference is, who's going first?
You go first. Ladies first.
Because the reason why he's making you go first is so that he knows how deep he can go on the second.
Yeah, but I feed off of you.
Okay, well, I don't mind.
Go on.
All right.
The top 3 differences.
I'm extrovert. She's introvert. As the most dominant character for me, I'm very much also an introvert, but mostly extrovert. I'm more of a risk taker. You know, I would jump first and ask questions. Yeah. Figure out how to fly afterwards.
Oh yes.
I have the bruises to prove it. Yeah, I'm just a lot more daring. There's pros and cons to that. You know, daring and it can also be careless, and you know, there's pros and cons. There are scenarios where I am probably overly cautious, and opportunities are missed because I spend too much time like thinking. Yeah. So yeah.
I like being an introvert, and I don't wish to be any other way. I'm not. I like things to be planned ahead. So I like to just know what's happening, so I can, you know,
be
prepared. Yeah.
And I'm more like, don't worry about it. We'll work it out as we go along.
And I bet that can cause conflict.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Sometimes I think sometimes it kind of flips around. It just depends on what it is.
Yeah, because you kind of need it, both sides. Because there's times when I guess, you know, her cautiousness and, you know, need for planning kind of averts some issues that we could potentially have, and then we do something and be like, okay, and she'd be like, see, if we didn't, then I'm like, cool.
I told you so.
Yeah, I told you, without saying I told you. You know what I mean? But then on the flip side, sometimes it's like, nah, let's just, you know what I mean?
But I guess
it's necessary. Both is necessary.
Yeah.
I guess it can cause conflict, but it causes you both to listen to each other at the same time. You have to have a degree of maturity.
Yeah.
With these differences.
I never listen to her at all.
Do you think that couples should have separate money?
Yes.
No.
I think that couples need to have separate money, and they need to have money together. They need to have both.
Right.
I think when it comes to finances, you're both responsible, or you should both be responsible. But at the same time, you're both individuals. So the finances really is an expression of the actual dynamic in that the dynamic of marriage, in that you're in this together, but within the together you're individuals. So I believe, like, so for example, our setup, like you were saying, is we have our joint account where all the bills, everything comes out of, and we collectively put to cover the bills. And then we have our own accounts where whatever's left over, we enjoy, and it's up to you what you do with that. It's up to me what I do with that. If I want to get you a gift, I can get you a gift with that. You know, if I want to get myself something, I can get myself something with that. So, you know, we're still individuals in that sense to be able to, you know, express ourselves. But at the same time, collectively, we're making sure that we cover the home. Everything that needs covering has to get covered. I do think that we need to talk about big things, because even though we have individual money, I still think that it's important for, I still see it as our money.
Yeah. It's still shared.
It's still shared.
If someone needs some more, then you share.
Yeah.
Is that like an issue at all? I mean,
It sometimes, yes.
I mean, between you.
Yeah. Sometimes for us, yeah. I would say in that.
Sharing the money.
Okay, so let's say, you know, I have an X amount. She has an X amount. Everything is taken care of, but this is recreational. But then she wants to do something that she doesn't have enough for example. Depending on what I want to do, that might be an issue for me. If you see what I'm saying. Because...
So basically, you haven't got enough to do both.
Yeah. So I could, you know, say, okay, well, let me help you out. Or I might say, well, you might have to wait for next month. It depends on how how things are.
So that's not a matter of wanting to help the other person. That's a matter of can I help you, or we can't do both. Let's work out which one goes first.
Yeah,
I think you haven't expressed that you have a problem sharing your money.
I don't have a problem sharing, but for example, it's like
if you already made plans,
what you want to get and what I want to get, and what men and women deem as necessary, can also be an issue.
Sometimes
it can be. I'll be real. Do you know what I mean? I'm being real. So I might want to buy something, and she thinks that's not necessary. Do you see what I'm saying?
I need this more.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Man,
so
how important makeup is also a problem.
Yeah, that's cool. But if you don't have to come to me for extra help for it, then I don't have a problem.
Oh, I need shoes for this
Do you know what
Sabbath.
I mean? So if you need shoes for this Sabbath, make sure you can buy it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that's when we would have discussions in the sense that it's like
just buy me the shoes and I'll make it up to you. Don't worry.
There's different kind of currency in the world.
There's different currency. Charlie, there's currency and there's current. Oh my days. Yeah. Like, there isn't really anything that she's ever asked for that I haven't tried in the end. You know, we kind of...
No, it's true. What he's saying is
we get there
true.
in the end.
He does,
do you know what I mean?
He does try.
Sometimes we might have to have a conversation as to about there and then and at that time. But, you know, as much as possible, we always talk about things, and then what we do is we try and figure out what we need to do to be able to do it. Do you know what I mean? So if we have to go this way for this month, go that way next month. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, there are times when you have good times and financially, there are, you know, times where, you know, it's really, really hard, really, really difficult. And so, you know, nothing's happening for anyone kind of thing, because everything has to go into keeping the home and the kids and all the rest of it. And then obviously there are other times where things are, you know, there's a lot more freedom. So it's like, well, you always wanted to get X, Y, and Z, go ahead and do it. And yeah, or you know, I'll cover it for you, or whatever the case may be. So there's constant communication when it comes to finances. There has to be constant communication. You can't just show up with stuff, and things have to be planned, because that is a big issue when it comes to what do you call it? Happiness in the marriage. Finances can be a real big burden on the state of the relationship. So it's very, very important to stay on top of it. It's not always a fun discussion to have, but it's very necessary, because if it runs away, then it has such an effect on the relationship that it's not really nice. It's not really nice. So I think it's important to keep on top of the finances as much as possible.
I think just always being open to helping each other out. Always. Never ever close that door.
Yeah. I mean, another thing is sometimes people are like, oh, does your wife know how much you've got, and do you know how much your wife has, and all the rest of it? And
you don't have those secrets.
Nah.
If you need to know, you can know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Have no problems telling him.
I've got the password to my account if you want. Check it. I got no problems.
Does she have the password to your phone?
Yeah, she does.
Actually do.
Yeah.
I also believe what he tells me. Because, you know, some people, they don't believe. So if I say, can you help me with this, or I need £100 or whatever, and he says, I don't have that, I don't think to myself, I need to check and make sure that he's not
check his receipts.
I don't need
you
to
see £100. That's why I don't have it. Receipt for I just spent it.
I don't need to check. I believe what he tells me.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
And I think the transparency of the fact that you can check if you want means, you know, you can always verify what I'm saying at any point.
I think that's why, because you have that, we have that communication, we have that, you know, vibe. Check if you want. When he says I don't have it, it's when he says that I hear, check if you want. Do you know what I mean? It's not something he has to say. I just know I can if I need to, but I don't.
What is your top tip for an engaged couple?
Mine would be, if you're already engaged, not to wait too long to get married. I think it's best to know what you want.
Make it happen.
And just make it happen,
regardless of finances, for example, in X and Y.
Yeah, just you might have
don't let money get in the way.
You might have to compromise a few things, but just know what you want and go for it. Don't wait too long. I
also think that engagement is just a transitional period. It's just moving from one state to the next. It's not a permanent environment.
No.
So you have to kind of look at it as that. It's a springboard to the next phase.
Yeah.
So, you know, you kind of, it's a temporary situation and it has to be seen as such. You know, so, you know, when you get engaged, you're springboarding yourself to the next phase of your relationship, which is, you know, that 100% full commitment. So you don't really want to mess around in that phase too long.
What is your top tip for another married couple?
Top tip, tolerance. Because change is definite. So so be prepared for movement. When I say movement, as in, if you know what I mean,
change of that person.
For change, for things to adjust, because there's so much adjusting and settling and all of that kind of stuff going to be happening that, you know, the person that you're with now, 1 year, 2 years, in 3 years, 4, 5 years, you know, there's an adjustments and stuff going to happen definitely. So expect change.
Patience and understanding, for me, I think that's really important for more or less the same reasons, because there will be change, but some of the changes are very unexpected.
It's probably the steepest learning curve, isn't it? Like the first few. It's
so unexpected. You're never ever gonna be ready for anything. So to when it does happen, just be a bit open-minded and have that patience and understanding, ready to accept or to compromise with the other person.
Compromise is hard, because
it is hard.
I think what compromise involves sometimes is you, in your heart, believe you are right, but you're asking me to forsake what I believe to be right, to give it up for what you feel.
It's not always going to go the way that you want it to. And when I say compromise, it doesn't mean you just have to just give up your beliefs or whatever, because it could be the other person compromising. Do you know what I mean? It's not just you.
What if I believe me on compromise?
Just be open to it. It might not be that you have to compromise or that you want to. You might, like I was saying before, but for you, I'm just saying, just be open to it. Just be ready to. Always be ready to.
Because it's a quality that will get you through much in marriage. And like I said, you know, right at the beginning, that, you know, you've made the decision. All the rest of the decisions you're going to make throughout your marriage is to reinforce that decision that you made at the beginning. So the whole compromise and, you know, tolerance and giving each other room to be themselves and allowing each other to grow and to accept the differences and all of that is in essence you trying to reinforce that decision. Because, you know, in the first, especially like when you first get married, you know, you first coming together for the first time, you know, year, 2 years, you're still very much best foot forward. When the dust starts to settle, you're very much going to be learning so much about each other, and you're going to be learning, picking these things up quickly and rapidly. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't have the mindset of learning, I'm learning like this time of our life is really about learning. You're going to be in trouble if you go in. You're starting off. You're newly married and you're like, oh yeah, I know him, I know her. There's so much you've still got to learn.
Especially as we change.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that it's a quality that as is something that goes on throughout your whole marriage, the whole aspect of learning. Because like you said, we change. The person I am now, 15 years on, it's not the person I was 1 year in. So and that happens. So the mindset is consistent.
The tip is compromise for a married couple.
Yeah, and tolerate.
What have you had to do to make it to 15 years personally?
Quite a few things. I mean, some of it has been said, compromise and adjusting, but also remembering. I think it's important to remember, not forget, because when we first met each other, how we felt, what I wanted, what the vision I saw, all of that kind of stuff I have to remember it through difficult times. And I think commitment, it's easy to say the word commitment, but I guess it's remembering. So you get to a point where, we're having a rough time, it could be finances, it could be the kids, it could be whatever the case may be. I have to remember at that point in time what this is all about for me. And it's very personal at that point. I cannot look at what my wife is doing or has said, or, do you know what I mean? I have to turn around and look at who I am in this particular scenario, and the spotlight is only on me. So for me, one of the key things that helps me through the hard times, because it's the hard times really that causes the separations. Most people, you won't really hear of people separating in good times. It's really the troubled times that come and hits them, and they kind of go about their separate ways. But I try to remember what this was about, and why I'm here. Okay. Yeah, and those feelings and everything comes back, and then it's like, right, this is what I have to do to get that back.
I would say I have had to toughen up. I've had to be strong, and
because I'm a hard character.
You have to tolerate.
Yeah,
yes,
I was
tolerate nonsense. Yeah.
I'm a very in the beginning I was very soft, very emotional person. And to be honest with you, being that kind of person, I don't think it works well.
Well, I loved her. Where's she gone?
It's, I don't know. I've had to toughen up and become very strong in terms of like criticism. All the things that I don't really have a problem with saying sorry, apologizing, all those kind of things. But yeah, I've just had to be strong because I couldn't take any of that. If there was any kind of issues, it's always just breaking down, just crying and just in tears. It doesn't get you anywhere. I've had to really, I don't know, just become a strong person. This tells you everything. I can't really express the words, but
Fist off strength.
Yeah, I just had to become strong, toughen up, and deal with things head on instead of I internalized everything, and that did not help me one bit. It just made everything worse. Yeah. So becoming strong and communicating. That for me was a big thing. Learning to open my mouth and speak and say exactly what's on my mind, without, I didn't like to say certain things in case he got upset and things like that, but at the same time I was upset, So I've had to learn to open my mouth and say, this is the problem, this is what's hurting me, this is what's not right. And that has really, really helped me.
How does God feature in your relationship? His purpose, his impressions, his influence. Does he influence? I mean, where is God in this marriage?
For me, God is at the foundation. I'm not saying that in a kind of cliche kind of way. I say foundation in the sense that most of the time, obviously, if you see a house, you don't see the foundation. The house is just built on it. So for me, God is there in an unseen way in my life. So the decisions I make and the choices that I make to hang on, stick, try and fix it, you know, even though, because I'm very stubborn, you know, and all the battles that I have to face in, yes, all right. You know, the battle that I have to face to overcome all of that, and the reasons why I do that is God-centered. There's a lot of things I don't do or say, and the reason is because God is at the foundation. He's unseen. And as a result of that, I don't ever wish to hurt her, ever. I don't ever wish to say something, like I never in my mind think it ever that I'm going to say something that I know is going to hurt you, or I'm going to do something that I know is going to get at you.
Put it down to God.
I never think that way, but I put that down, and it's an unseen thing, but I put that down to God in my life and the underlying principles he's taught me to be. So I wouldn't say that, you know, God is this big and obvious instrument in my life. But he does very subtly support everything, the whole thing. Obviously with the kids and stuff like that, you know, we try and teach them God. You know, we sit down and, you know, we learn about God and, you know, the stories and teach lessons and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, for me, the objective is how does he translate into your life? Not, you know, if you know of him and know the stories and all of that kind of stuff. So for me, you know, God plays the foundational role in our marriage, for me, in terms of the decisions I make. But it's not so obvious that he is the foundation of all those decisions, if you see what I'm saying. Because it's not something that, oh, God said I should do this, or God said I should behave like this. Yeah.
But without him, he's like the building.
Yeah, straight up. There's certain things I might say or wouldn't say or not do, simply because I know either God is watching or he's listening, or it's a principle that I know is not in line with him. So it's not something that I would do. But I don't say it's because of God that I'm not doing this. I don't say things like that. No. You know what I mean?
You're lucky I believe in God, you know.
You're lucky. For Jesus' sake.
Jesus' name.
You Jamaicans. You are hard nonsense people. You always want to cause trouble.
You love them though.
You know, Jamaicans are sweet, you know. Yeah. They are fine people.
Some of them.
You of them.
I mean, just me.
Yeah, just you and your brother. Because he's sitting there, so I have to say something.
Do you guys play fight?
Play fight?
Yeah.
All the time. I rap too much. Sometimes I take it overboard.
It hurts me though. You can't play too much. It hurts me.
I have changed a lot in that area, because I used to be overly playful, I think. And she's kind of balanced me out a little bit, I think.
Yeah, but we do play fight.
Yeah, we do.
You got to play fight, man. You play.
Have to. Come on, man. You can't be married and not play fight.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start a pillow fight challenge for
therapy. It's called pillow therapy.
So like we did. We bought Nerf gun. Yeah, for the kids. We got 4. We bought 200 bullets, and we messed up the entire house with it. We were playing and running from each other. Oh my gosh. It was the best though. It was so fun. So fun.
Thank you guys.